You're listening to the Breezy Moms podcast on Digital Stream Radio.
I'm currently in Ghana living my best life, but before I left, I sat down to get tips from a native Ghanian. West Africa is more than just jollof, so stick around.
Hey everyone, you're listening to the Breezy Moms podcast, a weekly show that chronicles the adventures of motherhood. I'm Candace. Now let's start the show.
Through a little editing magic, this week we're talking about my upcoming trip to Ghana, which will have started by the time you hear this. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook at the Breezy Moms podcast for bonus content from the trip. I sat down with James's cousin Muji to get her tips on visiting Ghana. She's Ghana-born, but spent a lot of time growing up in the U.S. before returning to Ghana for medical school. In a twist of fate, she would be in the U.S. for nearly the same time that we would be in Ghana. It has been 4 years since we last saw her, and to be sure we wouldn't miss her, she jumped on a train from Brooklyn to New Haven for a visit. Here's what she had to say. Muji, thank you so much for joining us in the studio today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you made it. I was so surprised to hear that you were coming up. James sent me a message. He's like, Muji is coming. And I was like, coming where? I thought she was in Ghana. Like, yeah. Where, when? And he goes, at 7:00. What?
Yeah.
So Thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. And on such short notice, too. I was in New York doing a medical rotation, and I called to let you guys know that I'm here. And BJ was like, come up now, like come tonight. And I was like, are you sure? I was like, why don't you discuss it with Candace and call me back and let me know? And he was like, no, get on a train now and come.
That's amazing.
Like, okay.
You know, we're breezy. That's the whole, it's, plus we're running out of time. We're going to be gone in a couple of days, so it's perfect.
Yeah.
And the timing of it is that you're coming for the exact amount of time that we're going to be there. So
yeah.
If we didn't see you today, last night and today, we would have crossed paths.
That's so true.
So anyway, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
So catch us up on what you're doing. You've been gone. I can't believe it's been 4 years that you've been gone.
Yep.
And you're in medical school, so catch us up.
Yeah, so I decided to go to medical school in Ghana, and it's been a long, challenging 4 years, but it's also very rewarding. I've been exposed to so many different clinical cases, so many different patients, so many different methods of teaching, so many different people and cultures and languages. It's been a really amazing opportunity, but I am happy to be here for this 4-week rotation. And in the future, I would like to do my residency here in the U.S.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And so you're here on this rotation through school. Which school are you going to?
I'm going to the University of Ghana,
mm-hmm.
and they have a relationship with NYU. The medical schools have a relationship.
That's great.
And so there is a global elective rotation.
That's awesome.
That's held every year, and it provides psychiatry, emergency medicine, and obstetrics and gynecology.
Wow.
So I'm doing the emergency medicine rotation, and I've just finished 2 weeks of it at NYU, and it's been amazing so far. They teach really wonderfully over there, and they pay a lot of attention to students.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a level 1 trauma center.
What does that mean?
That means
like the Grey's Anatomy cases?
Basically, yeah. Yeah, basically. So I see cardiac arrests, resuscitations, accidents, like road traffic accidents. And yeah.
People get helicoptered in and medvac, whatever, like those. All of these terms come from Grey's Anatomy in-house, okay? I don't know any of these things.
Well, I'm actually not sure if they do have helicopters.
Okay.
Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. I just see the patients come in.
Right. You're not on the roof.
Yeah, I'm not on the roof.
That's okay. That's really cool. And your program, so you're at the University of Ghana. Is it a international program? Are you kids, these are adults, right? Adults in your class, people in your class from all over the world. What does it look like? What does your program look like there?
Okay, so for the medical program, there are 2 different programs. There's the traditional program that's 6 years long, and it admits students straight from high school.
Oh, wow.
My program is a postgraduate program. So I've completed an undergraduate degree, and that's a requirement to get into that program.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 4-year program.
Okay.
It's about 4 to 5 years.
Nice. And then in terms of people who are there, like people in your program from all over the world?
most of the students in that program are Ghanaians.
Your post-grad program. Got it.
Even my post-grad program. Most of us are Ghanaians. I would say maybe 20% are international students, and international meaning mostly Nigerians.
Oh, interesting.
And other African students.
Cool. I mean, here our programs are 20% international, so it makes sense. It makes sense. So I'm asking all these questions about Ghana because we're on our way to Ghana tomorrow. I mean, we leave the house tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I've been super excited. I haven't been to Ghana in 11 years, and I imagine that, so many things have changed since in that 10-year time, in that 11-year time. So can you give me some suggestions as a young, not that I'm young and hip, but as a person who's living every day in Ghana? It's not just vacation for you. I want to get a little bit of a vacation feel, but also like a local feel, especially because we're going to be there for so long. What are some suggestions you would have for us? Things we should definitely see, like you can't go to Ghana and miss. I guess it's two things, maybe 2 or 3 things that you have to see. And if you're there for a longer time, 2 or 3 things. If you have more time, then you go see these things.
Okay. So immediately when you go, one thing I would suggest that you do if you want to get a real Ghana feel is go to the market. That's something that locals do.
Which one? Is there a specific one?
There are different markets. The biggest one, I think, is the Makola market. The biggest one is the Makola market.
Okay.
And I'm sure you're familiar with where that is. It's in central Accra.
No, I'm not familiar where anything is. It's my memory from 11 years ago, and we're going to be in the East Legon neighborhood or area. So anything that I can get to, and I'm sure we'll have access to somebody taking us further.
Yeah, so go to Makola.
Okay.
Makola, they sell so many different things, from foods, different kinds of foods, fresh produce, dried fish, meats. They also sell raw shea butter, raw cocoa butter.
Oh my God, I'm going to have such a long list of people asking me for raw shea butter.
Yeah, you can get beads. Even if you're not going to buy anything, just to get out there and see what's there and see the locals doing their thing. And it's an opportunity to bargain.
Okay.
And just talk to the locals.
So that's an interesting thing, the bargaining, because we all could use a lesson in negotiation, right?
Yeah.
But as an American going somewhere, I don't want to have this American cockiness that obviously I have more than them. But I would hate to go to a place where generally they have a little bit less than we have here and then take from them. What would you suggest is the fine line? I don't want to miss an opportunity to bargain, but I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to lowball people who actually deserve whatever it is that they deserve. What's the line?
The way that I see it is that, if it's a good deal to you, it doesn't matter what the market price is.
Ah, that's good. I like that.
You know what I mean?
I got $5. This is what I got.
Yeah,
or $10 or whatever it is.
If you think that what they're giving you is worth the amount of money you're paying for it, then just pay for it.
Yeah. Don't lowball them for the sake of lowballing. Like a real Ghanian, you're actually, you want to get a good deal.
You're not going to pay $50 for an orange.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? But maybe you'll pay $1 for an orange. And
but you would pay
to you,
50
that's
cents.
fair, or 50 cents.
Yeah.
To you, maybe that's fair, right? So you think you're getting a good deal. But in actuality, the seller is maybe getting a 10 times higher profit on it.
From me.
From you. But at the end of the day, it's okay. Let them have a little more. You're still getting a deal. You know what I mean?
I like that.
I think it's different for me because I actually live there, right? And I have to survive with
long
that.
term.
Yeah, long term using that currency. So I probably will bring the price low enough that
is a good deal for you.
Yeah, that's a good deal for me. And I think I'm allowed to do that because I'm a Ghanaian citizen. I live there. I'm one of them now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for you, I think as long as you feel like you're getting a good deal, it's okay.
Yeah.
People are struggling. They work hard. They're just trying to make a living and survive in life. And tourists help to support Ghanaian people. Yeah. So you buying even at a bit of a higher price than they're used to is just going to help support the economy.
Absolutely. And that's, that's part of why we go. And again, part of why I want to make sure that I'm not lowballing totally. So that's really, really good. Okay. So the Makala market, what's next?
Okay. Besides that, one place that I discovered recently is that there is a place in Jamestown, right? That is in Accra as well. It's like along the coast, so it's on the ocean. There's a lighthouse there. So if you look for Jamestown Lighthouse, you'll find the area. But there is a part of the beach where they sell fish, right? So you'll see all of these fishermen boats, these wooden canoes that they take out to catch fish, and then they bring the fish in, and you can go and get fresh fish.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing.
Which would be better than the fish from the market. I mean, just like out of the water.
Basically, out of the water, fresh fish. I think it's great. You can go choose your fish and go and grill it up and have
It's an experience. It's an experience. And does it look like the fishermen's, I don't know if it's a cove or whatever, in Cape Coast? Because they're all some of the pictures that I see that are the most recognizable from Cape Coast are of those colorful nets and the canoes and all the colorful nets that you can see from the observation deck of the castle. Does this area at Jamestown Beach kind of look like it? Have the same sort of feel?
It does. It has the same feel.
So cool.
So you know that when you're buying a fish, you're supporting a local fisherman.
That's amazing. I mean, and it's cool. I feel real hipster thinking about that, about like, buy the fish from the dude who caught it and support him and his family and the local economy. But if we're not doing that when we're going out into the world, then what are we doing?
Yeah.
Right? It's super selfish. And I want to make sure that I make this experience good for me and for the boys, for my family, but also, I think Americans have a bad rap right now all around the world, and so I don't want to go anywhere and confirm that. So, trying to be a good tourist.
Yeah, and I think my third suggestion is to see the tourist attractions. So, Elmina Castle at Cape Coast. You can go to Kakum National Park. Go to the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum.
Is that in Accra?
That's in Accra.
That's in Accra.
Yeah. It's in Accra. It's a beautiful place. They have beautiful...
And he's the first president of Ghana.
Correct.
Got it.
They have beautiful water fountains. They have a little museum.
Is that where the arch, the black arch, I don't know if it's onyx or some kind of like dark colored stone?
Yeah. I think near Independence Square, is that where you're asking?
Okay. Yeah, that might be it.
It's sort of close to Independence Square. It's around the same area.
Okay.
Right? But if you put it into Google, it will take you straight there.
Okay, cool.
And we have Uber in Ghana as well.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. So, I mean, you should totally use Uber. I think it's the best way to get around.
Like Uber is better than the chotros?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I would not recommend. I mean, you can. I see a lot of tourists get on the chotras, but I'm personally not a fan of chotras.
Okay. And chotra is a taxi. It's not a tricycle, but
it's like a van.
It's a van.
But in Ghana they call them buses.
Okay.
But it's definitely a van. And it's a modified van.
Modified how?
Like if they'll take a regular van and they'll either take all the seats out and put in their own seats to maximize the amount of people that can sit in it.
Okay.
And also, a lot of these seats are made of metal. There are sharp, rusty edges.
Oh my.
So to me, it's just not safe.
Okay.
Right? You can get scraped, communicable diseases.
Spoken like a doctor.
I just don't think chotras are safe. And also, on top of all of that, there's a lot. Chotra drivers are famous for driving recklessly, and I just don't think it's worth it.
Especially since we're going to have like minimum car seat situations. So.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
Exactly.
And so let's go back to, so you were talking about Independence Square and Kwame Nkrumah.
Yes.
The other things you mentioned were outside of Accra. Let's end with Accra. Anything else in Accra that we should make sure to see?
In Accra,
the Botanical Gardens we were talking about.
Yeah, the Legon. I was just about to mention that.
Go ahead.
The Legon Botanical Gardens, I personally haven't been there myself, but the pictures look great, and I would love to go. I've been to the Ebri Botanical Gardens. They're nice as well, but it just seems like Legon has more going on, and it seems like they have a little playground for kids, so it might actually be better for you since you're going with the family.
Got it. Okay, so then you mentioned some places that are out of Accra, like a day trip or an overnight trip. So we moved up to Cape Coast. That's where Elmina Castle is. That's where, both of them are famous. Famous Elmina Castle and the famous Cape Coast Castle that has the door of no return. I've been to Cape Coast Castle and seen the door, and that was the first time I went. And I was very surprised by how small the door was.
Yeah.
It just... in your mind, it's a big deal, and it feels like a big thing, but in reality, it is so small. It's almost like the opposite, the physical thing is not as big of a deal as the fact that you're leaving and you're never coming back. You know what I mean? It's a very ironic situation.
Yeah. And it's a very special place. A lot of people have really emotional experiences. And even myself, like you don't expect to have that sort of reaction to it, but it just hits you.
It really does. And it's like the ancestors are still there. You know?
Like their souls are there or something.
Absolutely. And I think so I went to Cape Coast Castle. This time we'll go to Elmina Castle. There's something about the days of the week that they're open and closed, and given the day that we're going to get there. But the castle above ground, the castle proper, is beautiful. It's open and airy, and light comes in, and the ocean, you can see everything, you can hear the ocean waves. It's just an incredible thing. And then when they take you below, which is where all the slave quarters and quarters is a very loose term for cell, right? For dungeons, that is the better term. Where the dungeons were, you just immediately, it feels different in that space. It immediately feels different in that space, and it just becomes like this weight on your shoulders. And I'm thinking about it now and feeling really verklempt about the whole thing. But I'm just imagining like the hands of the ancestors, right? They're on your shoulders, just sort of guiding you through this space. And without that, you would just melt into a puddle. And it seems ridiculous, but I swear, when you get there, even if you're the strongest person, you're gonna feel super overwhelmed.
It's true.
By just being in this physical place and knowing what was happening there. And you can't even imagine, you imagine, but what you're imagining is a far cry from what actually happened. So
it's true.
I don't want to go too far down that path because I'll be crying on air. But as a Ghanian, right, and being from there, sometimes James and I joke, we talk about the history of slavery and being descendants of slave, and I always clap back at him well, you're not a descendant of slave, right? The way Black Americans see it, or the way I see it, is that his family is still there, which means they didn't get captured and sent away. So we're not the same. What does it feel like to you, being a Ghanaian, being in this place with this castle here that has all of this history and this meaning?
To me, okay.
Oh, sorry. And you've spent so much time in the U.S. and often get confused for Black American, right? So talk about that.
That's right. To me, it just feels like these are my brothers and sisters, and they're suffering. Mm-hmm. So in a way, I do take it as part of me, so I don't really remove myself from it, because how can you be happy when your brothers and sisters are suffering?
Yeah, that's real. That's amazing. Okay. You can only abruptly change from that. There's no soft transition from slavery. Yeah. So definitely go see the castle, and then go in Cape Coast is also is Cocoon Forest in Cape Coast? It's nearby.
It's very nearby.
Okay.
And it's definitely a great experience.
Yeah. That's where the canopies are.
That's where the canopies are. They're very high. So if you're afraid of heights, you're in for an experience.
Or this might not be the thing for you.
It might not be. And I'm not sure if you want to do it with really small children, but it's definitely a great experience.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So I haven't decided if I want to push for us to go there because I'm not sure about the kids. Although Jason, our cousin, said that kids do go. So maybe there's a bit of walking around that can happen just to be in the forest, and then others can go across the canopy and we stay behind or what. But I haven't decided if it's a definite on the list, especially because the other baby is only 1.
Yeah.
So I want to do stuff that's good for everybody.
True.
Okay, anything else outside of across? So we've hit a couple places in Cape Coast. Anything else?
Well, if you really want to explore, there's a beautiful place called Akosombo.
Uh-huh.
And that's where the dam is.
Okay.
That provides electricity for most of Ghana.
Oh, wow.
Well, actually, we have other sources of electricity now, but that was one of our main sources of electricity for many years. It was built by Kwame Nkrumah.
Mm-hmm.
And that place is absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It's lush. They have like tilapia. You can go get fresh tilapia there. It's amazing.
Tilapia is a thing.
And I think they have a
Ghanian
cruise.
staple. Yes. So Akosombo is on our list. Julia's an uncle, someone's uncle, one of James's uncles lives there. So I think we're going to do an overnight there.
Okay. It sounds great. I think that place is just beautiful. And on the way there, there's a monkey sanctuary. So, so you might see monkeys on the road. And yeah, it's great. So that's a place you can go. And there's another place in the Volta region called Adan.
Uh-huh.
And of course, it's off the Volta River. It's beautiful. It's a touristy place too. You can get tilapia, fresh fish.
The obsession with tilapia is real.
I love tilapia. I love it. I love fish.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But Adan is beautiful. So if you do have the opportunity, there's a resort out there. You can go get a room and just enjoy yourself.
Cool. Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't remember if that's on the list, which I should get familiar with the list given that we're leaving tomorrow. But the group is going to be pretty big, so it's going to be an interesting thing navigating. It's like turning a big bus. You just got to move slowly to get everybody.
True.
And get the tail of the bus going.
Yeah.
So we have some good stuff. A couple of those things are already on the list. And for me personally, I'm going with my boys 9 days before everybody else gets there. So I'll be there with my mother-in-law and the local people that are going to be there. But the main part of our group, James's brother and sister and their families and cousins, Uncle Michael is even going. They're not coming till later in the month. So I have to fill in that first week and a half of time with things that are maybe in the Accra area, easy enough for me to maybe Uber to, so that I can keep the boys entertained. Okay. And I'm just thinking if I focus on the boys for the first week and a half, then I'll sort of like fill their cup and all of the things will be new. It's all new experiences to all of them. But if I do it with an eye towards the kids, I can fill them up so that in the second part of the trip, when we're mostly doing things that are adult focused and family focused, there's a difference between touristy things and just sitting around with families, that they won't be so bored or, you know what I mean? I know my kids, and yesterday they were home, in the house all day, and you would have thought we've been keeping them in the basement. Like, they are so used to getting out and doing stuff daily that one day off or just not having any focus on them makes them crazy. And so last night I had to take them for a walk around the block at 9:00 at night because they were just wild.
Yeah.
And poor Emery was at the door going, I want to go outside.
No.
Oh my God. So this
that's a wonderful problem to have in a society where children just want to stay inside and look at a screen all day. That's great.
And he was at the door in pull-ups and sneakers. That's it.
That's so funny.
He's wild. He's so wild. Oh my gosh. So, anything else? Oh, let's talk about food. Because food, I'm so concerned about how much I'm going to eat when I get to Ghana because I know it's going to be a lot. What are some of the top things besides tilapia, obviously, that you recommend we definitely try?
Red.
What's that?
Red is a dish of fried plantains and bean stew.
Okay.
It's absolutely delicious, and most people like it, right? So,
I mean, anything with plantain is going to be good.
Yeah, exactly. Most people will like it. So yeah, you'll love it. It's delicious, and they add fish to the beans sometimes. It's really good.
I feel like I've had that before, but I didn't know that's what it was called. Okay. All right. Red.
There's red, and then contomere.
Oh, what's that?
It's a leafy green.
Okay, like spinach, like kale?
Similar.
Okay.
It's called contomere.
I mean, right. I'm just trying to get a sense for what it might look like, what it might taste like.
Yeah, it's delicious. You can add some egusi, which is like ground lemon seeds. No, sorry, ground melon seeds.
Ooh.
It's delicious. Wow. So they call it palava sauce when they add the melon seeds to it.
Okay.
It's really good. You'll love it. I just don't see a reason for you to not like it.
Love that. Love that.
So you'll love that as well. Maybe you can try some peanut butter soup.
Oh, that's my favorite. My mother-in-law makes that for me every week. She comes here every time.
Yeah, and so you can eat that with rice balls. Yeah, I think that's the main thing you can eat it with. But you can eat it with other things like fufu. You can eat it with eba or gari.
What's eba?
Gari is like cassava. It's like a dried, grainy cassava. And you can add hot water to it and mix it up to form a dough. Okay. And we call that eba.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So my main concern is that I don't eat spicy things. So like I don't eat gari and that black pepper, that pepper sauce.
Okay, shito.
Shito. I can't handle it. I smell it from across the room and my eyes start to water. So thankfully, when I'm here, my mother-in-law knows that, and she often makes things and then adds takes some out for me and then adds the pepper later. I'm hopeful that they will remember us in the house when they're making food so that we can eat.
Hopefully. Yeah.
I'm sure. So that's the best part of this, is that my mother-in-law is going to be there and she's going to be running the show. So I'm sure we will get to eat.
You guys will be eating lovely. You'll be eating like royalty.
I love it. I can't wait. I'm also hoping that someone will help me potty train Emery, because he has been defiant and refusing to participate. So I am hoping that with this focus time away from our house with other people, that we'll come back, because he's going to school when we get back. So he's got to get it together.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to, and I hear that there are some cousins and some other little kids running around the house, or at least nearby, and can come over. So I'm really looking forward to spending time with them there, and again having about a week and a half of time before everybody else gets there, and it becomes like an itinerary thing.
Yeah.
We have to do this, we have to go here, blah 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 blah. I
think that'll be great, especially since they're so young, to sort of get used to the place gradually before everyone shows up.
Yes. What's left? Food. I am interested. I think part of what I'll do with the boys is just be on an adventure for seeing the different kinds of foods that you guys have. You guys have fruits that we don't have, that leafy green that we don't have. Is there anything you can think of that's something, if we see it, we're going to have no idea? Like I think about like a prickly pear, or something that looks like something we're familiar with but isn't.
Well,
like, are oranges orange in Ghana?
No.
See?
You're right.
Something like that.
Yeah, the oranges are green.
Green.
They look green. They might look a little dirty, but at the end of the day, it's still the same delicious orange that you know. And
we actually do something to the U.S. To the oranges to make them orange.
Okay.
Yeah, there's something with the methane gas, something like that. They blast the oranges because the marketing of orange juice that makes the marketing of orange juice being so orange meant that the orange needed to match the juice. You know what I mean? So that was a thing. I listened to this thing on marketing on NPR.
No idea.
Yeah, our oranges should not be green. Should not be orange. But if they weren't orange, Americans they'd be confused and think they were bad.
Yeah, basically. Because that's sort of how I felt initially. But once I tasted it, I was like, this is amazing.
Yes. The same thing with coconuts. I'm sorry to cut you off. The same thing with coconuts. I thought all coconuts were those brown
but they're different
spheres.
Kinds.
Different kinds, different colors, different shapes. I had no idea. It's part of getting out.
Yeah. So true.
So you were going to think of a fruit or a vegetable like that you can think of that would look different to us.
Okay, I'd have to say I'm not that adventurous with my fruits.
Okay.
Okay, a vegetable. Well, I know like a tuber, yam. Have you had yam before?
I've had yam, but I've never called it tuber.
Well, it's a tuber because it's sort of like a potato. It grows underground, right?
Oh, we would call that a root vegetable.
Sure, it's a root vegetable, like cassava, yam.
Yep.
Those are nice things to try. I think they will like tuo. Okay, I'm sort of trying to translate.
Yep.
Right. So we have these doughy, starchy foods that we usually eat with soups. And this includes tuo. I'm not sure if that's a universal term or it's only used in my language.
Yeah.
So or fufu.
That I'm familiar with, and I have to admit that I don't like.
That's okay. You don't have to like it.
Yeah, I think I don't like it because I can't eat the thing that you eat it with. It's too spicy.
Okay, the light soup.
Right, so if you're not eating it with something, then it tastes like nothing. But like nobody eats fufu by itself.
But I have a question. The fufu that you eat, is it the one that comes in the powdered form, or is it like the natural one?
I have no idea. It's just at my mother-in-law's house.
There are two different kinds of fufu. There's the neat fufu, which is nicely packaged in a box, and it's a powder. Mm-hmm. And you just mix it with water. You heat it up, and you keep like turning it until it becomes a doughy consistency, right, over the heat. That I don't really like it at all. And it has the same name as the fufu that's natural and
that you have to like pound.
That you have to pound.
I have pounded fufu before.
Yeah, and so the pounded fufu is delicious. It's so good.
I mean, that's just a metaphor for things you put work into, right?
I guess so, but it has a different consistency, a different flavor. It's just so much better than the neat fufu or the powdered one. So I would explore it that way.
Okay, all right.
And you don't have to have it with light soup. There are other soups you can eat it with. And also, since your mother-in-law knows that you can't have spicy foods, I'm sure like they'll cut down on the spices and you will be able to sample all of these dishes.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's make one more transition to language. So can you tell us a little bit about, so I know that you are from a different, tribe than my husband, and his family has two, like is Ga and Fanti. Can you talk a little bit about yours? And then I'm really interested in language. We're going to hear so many different languages. They're all going to sound the same to us, but I know that there are several different ones. Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of my family.
Okay.
My family actually originated from Nigeria.
Okay.
They came to Ghana in the late 1800s, around 1871 or so, for various reasons. And so they settled in Ghana. My ethnic group is Nupe. The Nupe people are sort of related to the Hausa people of Nigeria. And so the language that I speak is Hausa. And Hausa, a lot of Ghanaians don't really consider Hausa people Ghanaians.
Mm. And is that because they come from Nigeria?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And most people in Ghana are tree speaking people, and they feel like Ghana is owned by the tree speaking people. Right. So it's like always an argument. They're always like, where are you from? I'm from Ghana. Okay, so what are you? And I'm like, I'm Nupe. And they're like, I've never heard of that before. And I'm just like, yeah, I know. Most people haven't.
That makes me special.
I'm very special. But the point is that my family settled in Ghana before Ghana gained its independence in 1957, I think. Mm-hmm. So
I have no idea. Go ahead.
So technically, I am a Ghanaian.
Right.
I mean, I am a Ghanaian. I'm a citizen. I have my passport and everything. But people don't really consider me a Ghanaian because I'm not a Khan or Gan. But the funny thing is, if I said I was Gan, one of the Gan people, they would consider me a Ghanaian. But the crazy thing is that the Gan people actually came from Nigeria too.
I know. I mean, it sounds very similar to what goes on here in the U.S. That the people, I don't know if it's a majority of people, but everybody is trying to attach to something that they recognize, and anything different is other,
Is
you know,
other.
and we other people very easily,
It's so
even
true.
if they look like us, but especially if they don't. And language is such a distinguishing feature.
Yeah.
And especially if they can't understand you. So if
Right.
Hausa is that much different and so much harder for them to, some languages, like, you know, if you speak Spanish and Italian or and Portuguese, they're obviously very different, but some of it, they're all Latin-based languages. So if you speak Tree and you can't understand anything from Hausa, then you're probably like, it's not worth, it's not worth it.
It's true. I don't speak Tree. I've picked up a few words here and there, but I don't really understand it per se. And same with Ga. And most people in Ghana don't speak Hausa. I think maybe about 10% of the population speaks Hausa. So it's enough that I can actually utilize my Hausa and practice it and meet people that need, like someone like me who can understand both English and Hausa.
That's great.
But
it's so random. I just met someone when I was going to California in the shuttle to the airport, and he's Nigerian and he's Hausa.
Wow.
And so we were talking about language and how he makes a concerted effort to make sure that they're speaking Hausa in the house so that their kids know Hausa, and the kids speak to the grandparents all the time, so that they're definitely growing up with the language, or else you lose it so fast. James has basically lost it, which means we'll never get, it'll be really difficult for us to get it for our kids.
yeah.
So, where was I going with that?
But talking about language too, right? Yeah, it's important for you to know your language so you can pass it on, but it's also important for your spouse to understand the same language, because you can't just talk to your kids in that language all day, right? Kids pick up a lot from hearing their parents talk to each other.
Right.
And that's how I learned Hausa.
Oh, okay.
So my parents spoke to me in Hausa, but they also spoke to each other in Hausa primarily. And I realized that as we grew up, my mom started speaking less and less Hausa and more English, right? But when she speaks to my dad, they speak in Hausa.
Okay. So then you're always hearing it.
I'm always hearing it. So I've grown up knowing Hausa, understanding Hausa, and speaking it to an extent, but I didn't really get fluent in it until I got to Ghana and was able to utilize it every day.
Right. You have to. I mean, it's different parts of your brain, right? That the understanding and hearing and understanding it versus speaking.
Correct.
That's why I understand way more Spanish than I can speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. So language, and talk to me about English in Ghana. Are people speaking? Obviously, I know, but for people who are listening, are people speaking English? If you're an English-speaking person, are you going to be able to get by and go to the market and be able to speak in English and get by if you don't know any of the local languages?
Absolutely. You'll be able to get by with English. If you go to villages, it'll be more difficult for you to get by with English, but definitely in Accra, you can get by with English, especially if you're just buying something. I mean, come on. If someone wants to sell you something, it doesn't matter what language you speak, they will sell
Numbers
it to
and
you.
numbers.
Yeah.
Got it. And talk to me about any kind of things that might be recognizable for me as an American when I get to Accra. Like, I'm really hoping that there's no McDonald's. Like, I'm really hoping, I know that there's a mall. There was a mall the last time I went. I'm imagining that it's probably gotten a little bit bigger or fancier. But are there any U.S.-based things that are now popping up in Ghana?
Yes, we have Burger King.
Oh, shit.
KFC's,
Oh, God.
Pizza Hut. We have Pinkberry.
That's yogurt?
Yeah, frozen yogurt. So that will be familiar to you. Besides that, I can't think of anything else.
So no McDonald's?
No McDonald's.
Because I have a McDonald's problem, so I'm hoping...
Not yet.
Oh, God.
At least. Yeah.
Hopefully not in the next 20 days.
Hopefully not.
I'm trying to kickstart like a no McDonald's. What is it called when you stop doing something? Like a hiatus on fast food. But now you tell me there's Burger King.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to stick to all the local food as much as I can. Not as much as I can. I'm going to stick to all the local food.
You can. And then there are other like small Ghanaian businesses that you can support. There's a bubble tea spot in East Legon where you're going to be staying. So you should check them out. I think it's called Afro Boba or Boba Afro, something like that.
And it's boba like that Thai. Okay, got
yeah,
it.
bubble tea.
Nice.
Delicious.
I don't think I've ever had one of those.
You should try it. It's really good.
Okay.
So you can try that. There's also a place called Smoothies, and they sell salads, wraps, and smoothies, of course. and other things. But that's the main feature.
And are those places cool? Because none of those things sound very Ghanian to me.
It doesn't sound Ghanian, but...
So they put a Ghanian flavor to it?
No. Well, the thing is, when you go to Ghana, you'll be faced with a lot of Ghanaian foods. And if you just want a salad, you can go there.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
If you just want a smoothie, you can go there. And the prices are pretty good, I think.
Because smoothies are not a Ghanian thing.
Not really.
No, yeah. And the thing my mother-in-law or even James is always talking about is that we here in the U.S. or other places tend to mix the sweet and savory. So you might have something sweet in your savory food, or you might have something, or like a kettle corn popcorn. Like you guys don't mix those kinds of things. I remember when I was there, they don't snack, like I'm looking for chips. It's not that you don't have chips, but it's not a thing, like cookies and stuff. The way that we here just snack mindlessly.
Yeah.
When you all eat, you eat. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember the big ass plates of food that they used to put in front of me and why I gained 10 pounds in 2 weeks. Like,
it's so true.
But the snacking situation.
Yeah. It's hard to snack when you're not surrounded by foods you find familiar.
Okay.
But once I familiarized with what foods are available, I found my snacks.
Within that.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I lost a lot of weight in the beginning because I just didn't have my familiar snacks around me.
Right.
So I wasn't snacking. But as I became familiar with what's available, I started developing new snacking habits.
For better or worse?
For better or worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then talk to me about libation. Is Star beer still a thing? Like, what's the local drink situation that people gravitate towards?
Well, I am not familiar with the drinking situation in Ghana.
Okay.
But yes, I've seen Star beer. There's this Savannah apple cider. Okay. That I've seen around. And then there's a lot of nightlife, a lot of bars. Libation will not be your problem. It will not be your problem. Oh, yeah. I think there's something called palm wine.
Oh, okay.
And I think I've tried palm wine, but I tried it before it was fermented. It was pretty good.
Okay. So before it was alcohol.
Before it was alcohol.
Okay, got it.
It was pretty good. I think you should try it.
And see how it goes.
Yeah, because it's a Ghanaian thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I have a long list of things that I either have done before, but so long ago I can't remember, or didn't get a chance to before. So definitely want to add to my list. This has been amazing. I think that I'm so glad that we had this conversation, especially so close to the trip. I have a great list of additional things to add. I'm glad that some of the things you mentioned were already on my list because it makes me feel confident that I did a decent amount of research. But some of these nuggets are definitely really, really helpful. So thank you so much. I'm really glad. Welcome. And I'm so glad that you came and got to come to the studio.
Me too.
And you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
And so we'll wrap up here.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Muji.
Okay. Muji's amazing, and I just wanted to say thank you to her again for talking with me. Before I go, I have a quick Momsohard tip, and it's to definitely check ahead of time to see if there's a kids' play area in any airport that you're flying from. If you can, be sure to include time for your kids to get at least 30 minutes or more there. There's usually food nearby and outlets to charge. Believe me, allowing them time to run, jump, and play will cut down on restlessness and frustration for everyone included. For all of you traveling with kids, shout out to you, the real MVPs. May the gods be ever in your favor. Okay, that's it for me this week. You've probably heard a ton of noise in the background, but things are never quiet here in Ghana. There's always work to be done, there's always something to do, and there's always fun to be had. So thanks for sticking around this week. A huge shout out and thank you to Tommy for producing the show from an ocean away. Until next time, don't stress, just breathe.
This show is produced by Tom Ortiz at Digital Stream Radio. It's available for download on Podbean. Follow us at Facebook at Breezy Moms Podcast or email us at breezymomspodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, don't stress, just breathe.